Hello, and thank you for watching this recorded presentation on home safety tips, preventing childhood injuries. My name is Beth Blakely, and I am the Child Injury Prevention Program Coordinator at the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute, and today I'll be your presenter. This presentation was originally given as part of the Supporting Parents webinar series, which was organized by the Saskatchewan Community Action Program for Children, CAPC Program Coordinator, and the Nobody's Perfect Parenting Program Coordinator. This recorded presentation is for parents, caregivers, and parenting groups, as well as service providers that work with parents of young children. The goal of this presentation is to support parents and caregivers in preparing for each stage of their child's development to better predict and prevent injuries at home. Before we begin this presentation, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the land and waters that I am privileged to work, play, and live on. I am a treaty land inhabitant with settler roots from Ireland, Germany, Greece, and England. I'm recording this presentation from Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I am honored to also call One Arrow First Nation home through my partner John, and am on an ongoing learning journey about Métis history and traditions, as my son is Métis through his biological father. I am incredibly fortunate to work at an organization that prioritizes the truth and reconciliation process. The Saskatchewan Prevention Institute has been working with leaders in this area for the past couple years to better our staff, organization, and overall impact on the people accessing our services. We are grateful to be able to provide services and support to all those living on treaty lands 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10, the ancestral territories of the Nahiawak, Nahithawak, Nahinawak, Anishinaabeg, Nakawa, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, Dene, and the homeland of the Métis. We acknowledge the importance of the treaties, the lasting impacts of colonization, and the ongoing inequities experienced. Our team is dedicated to moving forward on a path of partnership, reciprocity, and reconciliation. We are all treaty people. For those of you that may not be familiar with the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute, it is a nonprofit organization founded in 1980 that aims to help all children thrive through primary prevention and the promotion of well-being. Our goal is healthy children. Using best practice and evidence-based information, our organization provides education, training, resources, and support in a variety of areas, including child injury prevention, child development and parenting, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, perinatal and infant health, child and passenger safety, as well as sexual and reproductive health. I have been at the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute for over 6 years now in a variety of roles, and this is my first year in the position of Child Injury Prevention Program Coordinator. As you can see, the Child Injury Prevention Program covers a wide variety of topics, but today I will be focusing on home safety and injury prevention. Throughout this presentation, there will be activities that you can participate in. I will provide recorded instructions and prompt you to pause the video to complete the activities. If additional documents or resources are needed, I will also let you know when I introduce the activity. Although this is a recorded presentation, I still hope that it can be interactive and used in a group setting as a tool for learning through discussions. For this first activity, I would invite everyone to grab a piece of paper or pull up an app on your phone and to draw a picture of your family. It can be as detailed or as simple as you'd like and can look however you want. Please spend a couple of minutes drawing your family. Thank you everyone for participating in that activity. If you're comfortable doing so, please show your drawing to the group. This is a wonderful opportunity to go around in the room and allow everyone to introduce themselves if they haven't already done so. Notice the diversity of what people have drawn. You may see a single parent family, multi-generational family, blended family, pets included in the drawing, or even their home or a setting that reminds them of home. If you're watching this presentation on your own, please take a moment to reflect on your picture and your family. I like to do this activity at the beginning of the presentation to remind everyone why you're watching and why you're wanting to learn more about injury prevention in the home. We all want our children and families to be safe, so thank you for taking the time to learn more. Hopefully this activity also helped ground you and shift your focus away from any lingering thoughts that make it a little bit more challenging to be present in the moment. This is the path for what this presentation will touch on. Together, we will start by learning a bit more about developmental milestones in children and how knowing this information can help you anticipate potential dangers and hazards in your home. Next, there is a home hazards and safety interventions activity. This can be completed in small groups or individually. Next, I will talk about factors that influence injuries and when injuries are most likely to occur in children. Then I will provide some home safety tips based on a child's age. To end the presentation, I will provide a list of resources referenced during the presentation, where to find additional resources, and websites where there's more information on home safety and child injury prevention. As you can see, today's path is not a complete straight line. This presentation is meant to be broad enough to cover children from birth to age 9, but can also be adjusted for whomever the audience is and what their interests are. For our next activity, I would like to invite you to use the Hazards and Safety Interventions PDF. This document contains detailed instructions, but I will give a brief overview. For this activity, you will use the 4 graphics provided of common rooms in the home: kitchen, living room, nursery, and bathroom. Look at each graphic and find potential hazards or safety concerns for infants and young children. For each potential hazard, come up with a possible intervention to make the item or situation safer and reduce the risk of child injuries. This activity can be done in small groups or on your own. If you do it in small groups, I would invite you to come back as a larger group and share some of your key takeaways or things that you learned. As we all know, children are naturally curious and learn by hearing, touching, seeing, smelling, and tasting the things around them. Children depend on the adults around them to provide safe, healthy environments so that they can explore, play, and grow. During the first few years of a child's life, they spend the majority of their time in and around their home. Because of this, homes are where infants and young children most often experience an injury. Injuries can be due to structures in the home, such as stairs, products found in the home, such as toys with small parts or chemicals, as well as situations in the home, such as access to boiling water or unsafe sleep environments. As with everything in life, there are no guarantees. Injuries will happen, bumps, bruises are a part of growing up, so there's no need to have our children live in protective bubbles. Parents and caregivers need to be concerned with injuries that are serious in nature and could impair a child's ability to go to school, play, or alter their life in some way. Serious unintentional childhood injuries are predictable and preventable. Injuries are not accidents. Our goal today is to provide you with knowledge and tools to feel empowered to address common hazards in your child's environment and keep your children safe from life-altering injuries without any bubble wrap. So, why are children at risk of injury? Well, children differ from adults in many ways, including physically and cognitively. These differences are why children are at a higher risk of being injured. It is important to remember that children are not just small adults. For example, physically, children's heads are much larger and heavier compared to the rest of their bodies. This can affect their balance and increase the risk of a fall. Children's bones are still growing and maturing, which means that there is less force needed to cause a sprain, fracture, or break. Children have a lower blood volume, which means that the amount of blood loss needed for an injury to become serious or dangerous is much less compared to that of an adult. Children under 5 years of age have short and narrow windpipes, or tracheas. This means it puts them at a greater risk for choking or having a blocked airway. They also breathe more rapidly and are more sensitive to pollutants, smoke, and other chemicals in the air. Children have thinner skin, which puts them at risk for burns and poisoning, and a deep burn or absorption of harmful chemicals can happen more quickly in a child than an adult. Children also have a larger body surface for their weight, which means they can develop things like hypothermia or heat stroke more quickly. Children's physical abilities, such as their balance and coordination, are also constantly evolving in those early years. When it comes to their cognitive characteristics, problem solving can be difficult for young children because their brains have not yet developed this ability. Children do not always understand that they can be seriously injured by things in their environment, such as touching a hot stove burner or tasting a cleaning agent that looks and smells like orange juice. Being able to identify hazards, assess the risks of a situation, and understand cause and effect are really complex and take time, especially for children. As caregivers, we also need to remember that children learn and grow through exploration and curiosity. Pushing boundaries and trying new things are important experiences needed for healthy development in children. Our children may not always recognize that something is beyond their ability and could be a hazard, which is why caregivers play such an important role. You know your children best, and your instincts are usually right. One common phrase that we hear from parents all too often, and I know I said a lot when my son was young, is, "I didn't know he could do that." Learning and understanding the developmental stages of children is one of the best ways to predict and prevent serious injuries from occurring. Our children are full of surprises, but knowing what to expect as your little one grows and develops in those early years can provide a lot of comfort and confidence for parents. Be ready before your child is, especially for children developing a physical skill like crawling, walking, and climbing. Parents and caregivers can recognize potential hazards and be prepared for that milestone. Although children will achieve developmental milestones at slightly different times and variable orders, all children will go through these predictable stages. For birth to 1 year, some important developmental milestones and notes are that they have a large, heavy head in relation to their body. Their control over their head, neck, hands, and arm movements is quite limited. They're also learning rapidly, learning to roll, to reach, to grab, to cruise, and to climb. For children aged 1 to 4 years of age, their heads are still large and heavy in relation to their body. They're imaginative, curious, and love to explore and test new limits. They also learn through putting items in their mouth. For children aged 5 to 9 years of age, they continue this imagination, curiosity, exploration, and testing limits. But it may not just be physical. It can also get into the realms of emotional, mental, and spiritual. Their balance, strength, visual, and auditory skills, motor skills, and coordination are all continuously developing at a rapid speed. At this age, they may overestimate their skills and abilities and have a drive for independence and could also experience peer pressure. For this next section, I will be highlighting some tips from the Prevention Institute's Home Safety Tips booklets. There are 3 booklets in this collection of resources based on age. The first, from birth to 1 year, the second booklet for children aged 1 to 4 years, And the last focuses on safety tips for children aged 5 to 9 years. So, for infants, birth to 1 year, one of the most important safety tips is related to safe sleep. So, the ABCs of safe sleep. A, always put your baby to sleep on their back. B, breastfeed your baby if you can. We recognize that this is not always an option for mothers and caregivers. C, create a smoke and vape-free environment for your baby. D, don't let your baby get too warm. E, every sleep surface should be firm, flat, and free of pillows, comforters, and stuffed toys. In addition to these tips, we encourage parents and caregivers to remove strings, cords, and ribbons from clothing and soothers to avoid strangulation. When babies can push up to their hands and knees, lower the crib mattress to the lowest height and remove mobiles and railings to reduce the likelihood of falls or children getting their hands on small items from the mobiles. One of the most important safety tips for newborns is direct supervision. Injuries often happen when caregivers are not directly and actively supervising their children. Direct supervision is key. This means that the caregiver is within an arm's reach and looking at the child. Active supervision also means that there are no distractions and the caregiver's focus is only on the child. It's easy to say that a caregiver needs to supervise their children, but we all know that in real life and as parents, we have competing priorities that pull our attention in every direction. Yet we also know injuries often happen when supervision is absent or distracted. The goal of supervision is to find the right combination of physical closeness to the child and attention to what the child is doing. This combination of physical closeness and attention will change depending on your child's age, their development, as well as the activity. A few more safety tips that I wanted to provide you all are related to bath time, heights, as well as playtime and mealtime. When bathing children, if it's possible, set your water heater to 49 degrees Celsius. The bath water for a bath should be warm but not hot, so approximately around 37 degrees Celsius. You can also check the temperature of the water by using your elbow. Keep your eyes and a hand on baby at all times and make sure that all the supplies you need for bathing your baby are within reach. Never use bath rings or bath seats. These increase the likelihood of drowning and are not to be used in replacement of direct supervision. For heights and reducing the risk of fallings, make sure that you're using safety straps on strollers and high chairs. Install wall-mounted safety gates at the top and bottom of stairs. It is not recommended to use pressure-mounted safety gates as these can become dislodged if a pet or children are leaning on them. Have all items that you need for your baby's diaper change, again, within reach before you start to change your baby's diaper. On any height above a floor, always keep your eyes and a hand on baby. This also includes if you're carrying your infant in their car seat. If they're in the car seat, don't place them on a table, place them on the ground to again reduce the likelihood of a fall. During playtime and mealtime, use age-appropriate toys. Keep choking hazards out of reach. That includes keys, coins, batteries, balloons. Do not use, buy, or sell baby walkers. They're actually illegal to use in Canada and are strongly not recommended. Again, choking is one of the most common hazards for infants when it comes to eating and mealtime. Prepare solid food safely. Make sure that you're mashing, cutting, chopping, or grating any hard foods or foods that are plug shape, like grapes or hot dogs. For children age 1 to 4 years, active and direct supervision still remains important. Children do not fully understand dangers and will not always remember safety rules at this age. Repetition is key. In your child's room, you can transition to a low bed at around 2 years of age or when they develop the ability to climb. Keep beds and furniture away from windows, especially if you are above the ground floor. If this is not possible, make sure that you install window guards. Secure furniture to the wall to prevent it from tipping over and being a fall hazard. Cut the loops out of blinds and cords and secure them out of reach so they do not become a strangulation hazard. In the kitchen, keep knives out of reach of children. Children love to copy the adults in their life, and that includes prepping food and meals. Keep the cords from your kitchen appliances out of reach, and when not in use, push them to the back of the counter. When using the stove, use the back burners first and turn any pot or pan handles towards the center of the stove to reduce the risk of them being pulled off. Continue to cut, mash, chop, and grate foods for your little ones. Avoid hard foods like popcorn and nuts. It is also important to supervise eating time and not allow your children to run or play while eating. This is a great opportunity to act as a role model for your children. It's also important to store all medications, vitamins, cleaning products, and other potential poisons securely, ideally up high, out of reach, and in a lockbox. For playtime for children aged 1 to 4 years old, again, it is important to make sure that they're playing with age-appropriate toys. If you have children of multiple ages, try and keep toys separated based on their age. For toys with batteries, check them and make sure that they have secure battery covers. Make sure the screws are tight, and if there is no battery cover, use a strong, large piece of tape to cover it. For electrical outlets, use safety covers. Keep stairs clear of clutter, make sure that all handrails are secure, and supervise children's stair use while they're learning how to effectively and properly go up and down the stairs. Remove scarves, helmets, and loose clothing on playground equipment to reduce the likelihood of strangulation or getting caught in equipment. Also, stay close to children on playgrounds and teach them safe play, such as taking turns and using the handrails. Children are naturally attracted to water, but aren't capable of understanding the risks associated with it. Children can drown quickly and silently in less than 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch of water. That is why when children are in or near water, it is important to keep them within arm's reach and again have that active and direct supervision. Watch for standing water in your home, such as pet dishes and ponds. You can lock toilets and the bathroom doors. If you have a pool, it's also important that there is a fence around all of the edges that is 4 feet high and has a self-latching gate. Remove any sort of items that could be stirred on to get over the fence or used to reach the latching gate. It's also important to make sure that children wear properly fitted life jackets at all times. There are specific guidelines for how life jackets and personal flotation devices should be fitted, so it's important to also check those. We have them listed on our website. For children aged 5 to 9 years of age, supervision is still needed, but as I mentioned earlier, the frequency and type may evolve given the activity as well as the child's developmental abilities. Regardless of their abilities, it is important to give frequent reminders about safety rules. You can teach your child about hazards in the environment and making safe choices. This is an excellent opportunity to be a positive role model. As parents and caregivers, it's important that we anticipate that as children get older, they begin experiencing with risk in play. This is very normal and very important for healthy development, independence, confidence, creativity, and overall well-being in our children. As parents, we can eliminate the hazards in the environment, the things that will hurt them, but we want to allow children to make decisions about risk-taking. You can start early by teaching your children about identifying risks, figuring out how to navigate risks, as well as how to make decisions about their own skills and abilities. This will take time, and there will be some trial and error. It's important as parents, though, that we create safe environments and then allow children to explore and play. For trampolines, both indoor and outdoors, they are not recommended for use in children. It is important, if you do decide to allow your children to use trampolines, that you know how to reduce the risks of injuries. We have some of those included on the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute website. It is also very important to reinforce safety habits on the playground when they're learning to cross the street or walk in parking lots, when children are in or around water, as well as when they start developing new skills such as riding a bike, using rollerblades, skateboards, or a scooter. To promote safety in the kitchen, do not leave your children alone when they are preparing food. Children should not use the microwave until they are tall enough to fully reach into the microwave. If they are not able to properly reach into the microwave to put items in and out, they're at risk of the item falling or getting burns caused from hot food or steam. As caregivers, you can begin teaching your children about the dangers of playing with matches, lighters, or other flammable materials at a young age. As they get older, teaching them more about fire safety, such as planning a safe escape route, calling 911, and other safety tips are recommended. You can also begin to teach your children about the hazard and poison symbols that are found on household chemicals. Reinforce to your children that medicine and other medications are not safe to take unless they are given by a trusted adult, and to tell an adult if they have touched or ingested a potential poison. It's important to have the National Poison Safety Center phone number in your house in the event of a potential poisoning. Again, keep all medications, vitamins, cleaning products, tobacco, cannabis products, vaping liquids, and other potential poisons out of sight and out of reach, preferably in a locked cupboard or a lockbox. As I mentioned during the overview of the presentation, there are certain instances and times when injuries are more likely to happen. This includes when a child is hungry, tired, ill, or unhappy. If the caregiver is hungry, tired, ill, or distracted. A change in caregiver or when a caregiver is not prepared can also cause injuries to be more likely to occur. Unexpected achievement of a developmental milestone, such as an infant learning to roll, can also cause injuries when the parent or caregiver does not anticipate that milestone. New and changing environments also increase the likelihood of injuries. Equipment, such as playgrounds that don't meet the safety standards, and when safety precautions are not followed. Children with special needs are also at an increased risk of home injuries, including falls, burns, poisoning, and choking, and may require additional safety precautions due to their physical and cognitive abilities. Thank you for your time and attention. As I mentioned at the beginning, I want to make sure that everyone leaves having a list of additional resources and supports. This was just a small snippet of some of the home safety tips and things to consider to prevent childhood injuries in your home. I've included 3 phenomenal websites that all include evidence-based best practice information and tips for caregivers, parents, as well as folks that work with families. So the first one is the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute website, and I've linked it directly to our safety page. The second one is Parachute Canada, which is a national injury prevention organization that aims to create a safer Canada by preventing serious and fatal injuries through evidence-informed solutions that advocate and educate. And they envision a Canada free of serious injuries, with all Canadians living long lives to their absolute fullest. The third one is Safe Kids Worldwide. So this is a nonprofit organization in the USA which works to reduce unintentional injuries in children ages 0 to 4 years of age, that also aims to build equitable and sustainable systems that support injury prevention. So all of these websites have resources that you can use, and for the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute, we also have our resource catalog. So all of our resources are free to order. We just ask that you either pay for shipping or pick them up in our office, but it includes a wide variety of resources and additional ways to learn. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us and was part of this presentation. If you have any questions or want to contact any of the staff at the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute, please reach out to us. I've included on this slide our email, phone number, as well as our website. As a reminder, this recorded presentation is available on the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute website, and we encourage you to share it, use it in parenting groups and anywhere else where you think it might be beneficial. Again, I have included a copy of the presentation slides as a PDF document that you can download and use, a PDF copy of the Hazards and Safety Interventions activity sheet, as well as a PDF that includes more information about the additional resources and supports. Thank you so much. Take care, and I greatly appreciate that you have all taken the time to make your home safer and to look out for the safety of your children. Thank you.